Hi, I'm Nick Nanton, and welcome to America's Premier Experts, the one and only place where we bring top experts from all around the world directly to you. And today we have just one of those experts, Mr. Nick Ragone. Nick, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Nick. Nice to be here.
It's great to have you. So I'm excited to have you because I interview lots of people who are in the financial world, but rarely do I get to interview someone with your breadth and depth of background, as well as you do things quite differently than most any other advisor I've ever met. So let's talk a little bit about kind of how you got into this business of being a wealth advisor in the first place.
Well, I started actually about 25 years ago at Lehman Brothers, and I was working there as I was attending college and was offered a position after I graduated. And they dealt primarily with high net worth individuals, institutions, and brought them specific investment ideas in stocks and fixed income and so on and so forth. Since that time, I've worked at several major firms in portfolio management. And recently I decided to start my own company and focus in on two types of people, which are really those that are looking for traditional money management, stocks, bonds, that type of thing, and also people that are looking for investments outside of the norm, alternative investments, commodities, currencies, things that are as an adjunct to their basic portfolio, something additional to try to gain some additional growth.
Nick, I know the name of your firm is Vilicus. Tell us a little bit about that.
I get that question a lot. What does that mean? And Vilicus is the Latin word for steward. And I chose that because I feel that a steward is basically somebody who's entrusted by someone, a property owner, to watch over their property until sometime in the future they come back for it. And I feel that we have both a moral and professional obligation to be exactly that to our clients. And I feel, unfortunately, that over the years, much of the financial industry has kind of lost sight of that. And it's created a lot of distrust and dislike for the industry because people have felt that they haven't really been provided with what they were told that they would be provided with. And it's rightly so, I think, that there's some legitimacy to that criticism. So that was
great.
really how it came about the name.
Great answer, great name.
Thank you.
Very good. So money management, a broad term, can mean many things. Many people who would claim that they're managing money, well, they might be managing it, just not well.
Right.
Let's talk about the difference between kind of how you approach someone's portfolio, because you do have that, you have a broad range of experience, like we said, working in some of the major institutions as well as for consumers. So let's talk about how you look at managing someone's portfolio.
Okay. I think that what really sets myself and my firm apart is my focus is really on risk management. And if you look over the last 100 years, every major financial crisis, whether it be on a corporate level like the bankruptcy of Lehman Brothers and Bear Stearns, or on a personal level where people have lost, unfortunately, significant amounts of money, it's really been a function of not having a risk management methodology in their investments.
Wow.
And we have insurance for our homes, for our cars, for our health, life, and yet we don't have any insurance on the money we plan on retiring on for the rest of our lives, the money we intend on sending our children to college with. And virtually every person I meet with, the first question I ask them is, what do you have in place in the event that you have a bad market or unfavorable conditions that'll protect you on the downside? And almost 100% of them say nothing. Or they say, I really don't know.
Yeah, most people don't even understand you can protect yourself on the downside.
That's right.
Is there an easy explanation we can maybe give to tell people how that's even possible? Because most people just think they've got to ride the market, right?
Yeah, people have been kind of taught that they should stay in the market and you can't time the market and so on and so forth. If you look at the most successful investors in the world, and I'm not talking about people you hear about on CNBC or Bloomberg, but guys that you hardly ever hear of but have done tremendous jobs, people like Paul Tudor Jones, Louis Bacon, they manage basically hedge funds and institutions. Before they ever enter a position, something that they buy, they already know where they're exiting. So a very simple explanation, let's say for the layman, is if I buy something, I say, okay, if I lose 10%, I'm getting out of the position. And that's it, and I'll do that. And what that does is that you don't have 50% losses because you're always getting out down 10%. So you always have the ability to come back from being down 10%, whereas it's very hard to come back from down 50%. And people, unfortunately, 95% of the investment community works in the way that you mentioned, that they'll sit and they'll ride a cycle out. And if you look over the long term, there's been very many periods like 1929 to it took 1956. It took you 27 years to get even. And from 1966 to 1982, it took you 17 years to get even. Wow. So at 42 out of 53 years from 1929, you basically were spending trying to get even. Wow. And it's just because you had such large drops that to come back from that took a really, really long time. And even now we're kind of going through that. We're 13 years from 2000 and we're kind of just barely above where we were at that time.
Absolutely, and something that you understand and most people don't understand from your intense financial background is that there are ways that you can only take the gains. You can get out of a position if it goes down 2%, 3%. It might die 50%, and then you get back in and you can ride it all the way up. Right. And if it goes down again, you can so stops and limits, as traders would call them, right? A great
That's
place
exactly
to
right.
understand how to manage money. So I love that you understand and do that for your clients.
When I'm talking about real successful people that have been successful for 25, 30 years. And most importantly, when the market's been bad, that have been able to either make money or really not get hurt at all. Every single one of them has a risk management methodology. That's their first and foremost concern, is not to lose so that they can live to fight another day. And most, unfortunately, there's trillions of dollars with the firms like the Fidelities, the Vanguards, and all the major brokerage firms. And 95% of them don't have any risk management, and they basically all operate in the same vein where they're sitting and riding through all these market cycles. And, unfortunately, like I said, 13 years is a long time to wait to get even, okay? Or 27 years. They say the market goes up over the long term, but unless you live forever, it may be a really long time before you end up seeing any return.
Yeah, if it's time to retire and we're in a downswing, you could be in a huge problem.
That's exactly right.
I got that. Now, I know you've helped a lot of people doing what you've done over the years. Can you give maybe a favorite story, share one with us?
Yeah, one in particular I really like. In 2000, if you remember, we had the internet bubble. Everybody was a genius. They were buying Cisco and AOL and go to a cocktail party, and I just made $50,000 on this. And that was a peak, basically, which is typical. When the market started to come down, I was managing money at one of the major firms as a portfolio manager, and I decided to go to 85% cash because the market was falling pretty quickly. It was down maybe about 8 or 9%, and I decided to go. Unfortunately, the methodology to a lot of these firms is that they want you to be fully invested or at least close to fully invested.
Right.
Within my program, I really wasn't supposed to go that more a maximum of 50% cash. So I went to 85% cash, and I was getting constantly wired every day by the investment committee saying, you're in violation of the program, you can't be out so much of the market in terms of cash, we can get in trouble. And I basically said, you know what, I'd rather argue with you every day about me being in violation of the program than telling a client, sorry, you lost an extra 20% because my firm said that you can't be more in cash than you are now. So I did it anyway, and I just fought the battle, and I felt good to be speaking to clients saying, listen, the market's really down, but you're only down a few percent, and we'll be able to go forward. That's a great position to be in. Very good. I know there's a lot of people who are watching this, they're wondering, how do I get the right advice? Am I getting the right advice? I need to speak with someone like you, Nick. How can they reach you? Well, they can go to my website at villicuscapital.com, www.villicuscapital.com, or they can give me a call at 631-393-5035. Very
good. Living in Long Island, but helping people all around the world, right?
Yeah, been in the city for a long time, wanted to have a little quality of life, so now closer to home.
Very good. Well, thanks so much for joining the show.
Thanks for having me.